I was picking up my 15-year-old granddaughter from school last Tuesday. She climbed into the car with this look on her face. Not sad, not angry, just flat, empty. Like someone had reached inside and turned off a light. After a long, heavy silence, she said 7 words that have been screaming in my head ever since.
Grandpa,
Mm.
does it ever feel like nothing matters?
I'm 87 years old. I've lived through wars, recessions, and personal failures I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And tonight, I'm going to tell you the one thing I wish I could have told her, and the one truth the hustle is hiding from you. Watch this carefully, before it's too late for you to notice the mark you're actually leaving. We live in a world obsessed with leaving a mark. Everyone wants to be extraordinary. We're taught that if we aren't changing the world, building an empire, or being remembered by millions, our existence is just a rounding error. I see it every day in America. People chasing 401s they'll never spend, posting for validation from strangers they don't even like, measuring their worth by how many people know their name. I get it. I was that man. I spent 40 years chasing significance like it was a destination. But here is the bitter truth I found at the finish line. The things that actually matter rarely feel like they matter at the time. Let me tell you about my neighbor, Margaret. She lived 3 houses down from me for 42 years. Margaret was a school teacher. She never married. She had no children. She never made headlines, and I doubt her bank account ever had more than 4 figures in it. When she retired, 30 people showed up in a cold gymnasium. She got a plaque and a bouquet of flowers that died in 3 days. When she passed away quietly in her sleep 2 years later, I expected a modest funeral, but when I arrived at that church, it was standing room only. People were lined up around the block in the rain. One by one, they stood up. A high-powered doctor said,
Margaret was the first person who ever made me feel smart.
a woman who runs one of the largest nonprofits in the country said,
I learned to read in Margaret's classroom after everyone else had given up.
a man in his 50s brought his own daughter and said,
I became a father because Margaret showed me what it meant to be seen.
Margaret wasn't trying to change the world. She was just doing her job. She stayed late for the kid struggling with fractions. She learned their names. She noticed when they were hungry. The ripples from her ordinary life are still spreading decades later, through people she will never even meet. We think mattering means being seen by crowds. But life is built on the moments between the cracks. When I was 39, I was drowning. My business was collapsing. Money was gone. I was sitting in my car outside a bar. Then, a guy I barely knew named Tom knocked on my window. He just asked if I wanted to grab coffee. No big intervention, no lecture, no $1 million loan. We sat in a diner for 2 hours, and he talked about normal things. His kids, a book he was reading, a trip he took 10 years ago. And somehow, in the middle of that ordinary conversation, something in me settled. I didn't go into that bar. I went home. Tom probably forgot that coffee by the next morning. He didn't think it mattered. But it changed the entire trajectory of my life. That is real impact. It doesn't give you a trophy. Most of the time, you'll never even know you did it. My wife, Ellen, spent her life writing letters, real letters, with stamps. I used to tease her.
Ellen, We have phones now.
Right?
It's 2026.
Nice.
Stop wasting your time.
She would just smile and keep writing. After she passed, I found a box under the bed. It wasn't full of her letters. It was full of the replies. People had kept her words for 30 years. They read them when their parents died. They read them when they felt invisible. She wasn't building a platform. She was reaching out. The pressure to be exceptional is a weight that crushes the beauty out of being human. Almost everything that holds this world together is done by people no one will ever remember. The parents up at 3 a.m. with a sick child. The workers who show up on time. The friends who check in because they sensed your silence. These are the unremarkable acts that keep the world from falling apart. To my granddaughter, and to you. Yes, you matter. But probably not in the ways you think. You matter when you choose patience over anger. You matter when you tell the truth, even when a lie is easier. You matter when you stay, when leaving would be simpler. Your life doesn't have to be a spectacle to be significant. It just has to be present. That is the hardest work of all, to show up, even when you're tired, and to care, even when it's inconvenient. I'm 87. My time is nearly spent. I don't think about the awards on my wall. I think about the 15 minutes I spent standing in the shallow end of a pool, holding my grandson's hand while he learned not to fear the water. That was real. That was a legacy. Go home tonight. Put your phone down. Look at the person in front of you. Because one day, you'll be sitting in this chair. And I pray you aren't surrounded by the screaming silence of a life spent chasing smoke.